If you're going to do it the best.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Bonjour, you're watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. My name is TK Trinidad, and today we have an amazing show with nothing but amazing guests. She is a cancer survivor. You've seen her on NWA, a former OVW champion, and the reigning defending Mission Pro champion. Please welcome La Princesa, Tiffany Nieves. Welcome.
La Princesa. You know what, TK? Doesn't surprise me. You're nervous, and I don't blame you. With the accolades you just listed, I'd be nervous too.
So let's get into it. Very important question. Thank you for coming on, by the way. How many crowns do you have?
Well, I've got 2 of my favorite crowns. One's red and one's blue. But La Princesa wears many crowns because I'm literally the best at everything.
I like it. And so now let's talk about the Bad Girls Club. So you've been part of it for a while. 1, what does it mean to you to be a part of it? And 2, what does it take to, like, say if I wanted to be a part of it or somebody else wanted to, what does it take to even qualify to be part of the Bad Girls Club?
Well, you got to be good looking because everyone in the Bad Girls Club has fashion, attitude, sass. And you got to be able to, do whatever it takes to be the best at everything. So when I first arrived to OVW, I was the new girl. Mm-hmm. I was the girl that, always lost, to be honest. And it wasn't until I made an acquaintance, I'd say a sister, actually, a friend, and Miss Layla Gray. And we realized the reason why, I was feeling this way, maybe sometimes she was feeling this way, is because people were jealous of us. People wanted what we had. And whether the audience knows it or not, they wish they had someone looking like us when they went to sleep at night. So it only made sense. You're thinking about OVW, right? And it's ran by, honestly, the most ravishing, disgusting hooligans. And we got Hollywood Haley J. And it's interesting because La Princesa Tiffany Nieves is a New York native from the Bronx. And I don't act the way she acts. It doesn't make sense. She says she's from the streets. She walks around with a raggedy sock and she smacks Al Snow, how she wants. So you know what I decided? It made sense to get all the girls in the locker room who agreed on one thing. We can no longer have Hollywood Haley running the locker room, running the ring. So we just got together. And since then, it's not like we sat down and said, you have to have these requirements. It just organically happened. So to be a part of the Bad Girls isn't, something that you can just one day check off the list. You just are or you're not. And it's something you're born with. So.
Okay. So it's in the DNA. Okay.
It is because the DNA is what made us stick out and feel like we're the outsiders. And it's that same DNA that made us thrive and become the Bad Girls Club.
Okay. Speaking of DNA, somebody who's also joined OVW, Mickie James, legend.
Oh, yes.
Period. So what is it like working with her?
It's fantastic. It is outstanding. It is inspiring. Mickie James was at OVW when OVW didn't even have a women's title. Criminal. So to see her full circle come around when she's made her rounds in the wrestling world it's exciting, it's honorable, and it's inspirational. And I feel she had a seminar for 3 days, and I spent 3 days with her. And in those 3 days, La Princesa left, and a month after got the Mission Pro Championship. The month after that got the OVW Women's title. A month after that became the Shine Women's Tag Team Champion. So it's just Mickie James, when she steps in the ring and she puts her hands in something she believes in, it's very high success. So I'm really happy. And I would love, it's in her DNA to be a part of the Bad Girls Club too.
So she's is she like an honorary Bad Girls Club? Like, do you get, like, is there a certificate?
There was a time where I was suspended and she tried to keep me in place, and we didn't bump heads as much as I thought we would, but she definitely tried to be an enforcer, and I think she should remember what it was like when she was in my shoes, and I think she did her best to do that. So yeah, she is definitely loyal to the Bad Girls game. I'd say that.
Okay. So she's like an honorary member, or is she like an official member?
I think it'd be unofficial as of right now because it wouldn't be fair. But what me and Mickey talk about outside is no one's concerns. Just know she's in.
Now, well, and then kind of going back to that, you said you did the seminar, and then after that seminar, a couple weeks later, you got so many championships. Is there one thing that she said or she did in that seminar that kind of clicked for you that made it make sense?
Be a star. I mean, I already, like I said, in my DNA, I'm a star, but she's very authentic and genuine.
Mhm.
And La Princesa, as you mentioned before, I have been through some struggles. I beat cancer, and people are quick to forget, no matter how I got this title or championship or how I become a champion, you cannot judge someone based on their actions, but who they are as a person.
Mhm.
And Mickey James really emphasizes into tuning into who you are as a person and make strong decisions no matter what people think of you. And I think ever since taking that advice, I apply it to wrestling and I am unapologetically me.
There it is. And now let's talk about that championship you have on your shoulder, Mission
Yes.
Pro. You have a match coming up this weekend.
That's right.
So I don't want to, I know you don't want to give too much of the details, but one, what is it like being the Mission Pros champion? And then two, how do you plan on maintaining this or maintaining your reign?
So I feel like I am the Mission Pro champion because I beat Genocide for it. And I can tell you a list of girls. I'll actually entertain myself. I'm now an NWA superstar. So I've even beat some of the NWA roster. I beat Missa Kate for this title. I beat Markova for this title. I beat Izzy Moreno for this title. I beat Christina Marie. I beat Rashay Chanel. In order to get this, the roster before. I retired Genocide. I am, and once April comes, I would have already defended this title 10 times. My next Mission Pro show, I'm going to be defending this for the first time internationally in Canada. And come this weekend at Exodus Pro, I'm going to continue to be undefeated. I think that's what makes me the most different champion because I don't know another champion that defended this. By June, it'll be 12 times that I defended this title since I've had it. I mean,
Mhm.
other champions probably defended it like 4 times within a year. I'm not scared. That's what makes me different.
Okay. And so now, I mean, at one point you had two championships. I'm assuming you're planning on
3. I had
reclaiming.
3.
You had three, excuse me.
Mhm.
I'm assuming you're planning on reclaiming the OVW championship. So,
Absolutely. This weekend at the OVW pay-per-view, I've been, before you called, I was watching tape. And right now, Layla Gray is the leader of,
mhm.
not leader, oops. That's oh, sorry, I know she wished she was the leader. We've kind of been fighting about that. So, pardon me. She is the champion. She is the
Mhm.
champion, not the leader. She is the current champion, which she happened to do while I was suspended. And,
Mhm.
other friends would be a little upset, a little suspicious, a little all the above. I decided to look past that because I am not jealous. I'm too pretty to be jealous. So, what I take that as, not that it's every woman for themselves, but I mean, we only want the best. And I feel I was the first OVW Women's Champion to bring that title and defend it internationally. So it only
Mhm.
makes sense. And I did that within 72 days. Not saying
Mm.
anything about her 4-time reigning, title holding, but I can't say that about anyone else on the roster. So I would love nothing more than to come out victorious and continue to thrive with the Bad Girls Club. I think
Okay.
either way, whether Layla or I have this title,
Mhm.
will be, very successful. But I think, I look good with the OVW title.
Okay. So you're saying despite if you win or something happens, because we're not going to say you lose, the Bad
Yeah,
Girls Club will remain intact and the friendship will be the same.
absolutely. Yeah, I believe that with my whole heart that the friendship will remain the same because that's what started this. Championships, they come and go. The true, oh gosh, I'm just stuttering over my words. It's just very intense to talk about this because I will say one thing that I notice is while Layla Gray has had the championship, I have yet to be offered an opportunity to go for it, you know? So sometimes I wonder, why that is. But I'll patiently wait because I know when my time comes, I'm gonna get it.
Okay. So let's move over to
Please,
NWA.
yes, no further questions about the Bad Girls Club and the titles, please.
So
NWA, yes,
NWA, another great thing, you're getting to work with another legend, Jazz. So
absolutely.
what's that experience been like?
Oh my goodness. So Jazz and I actually have history. We have met in one of my first few shows at Mission Pro. She was one of the agents backstage who happened to grace herself and work with me on my match. And that's how I became victorious. I listened to her advice.
Mhm.
Working with Jazz, she's all about talent and attitude, while everyone else is about I can't curse, but what else starts with TNA that has to do with your body? Not Jazz. She has to do with talent and attitude, and that's all I'm about. So we very much see eye to eye. La Princesa Tiffany Nieves did not make 185 on the list of PWI best wrestlers, which technically is top 10 because all those numbers are under 10, 1, 8, and 5. So depending on who you ask, top 10
Okay,
La
I like that.
Princesa is there for a reason because of who I surround myself with.
And so, kind of going back, I mean, obviously, you're drawing in all these legends to you. Is there anything that Jazz told you or has said to you that you carry with you throughout, your matches and training and stuff like that to be the success that you are?
If you're gonna do it the best.
There it is. I like that. And let's talk about another woman who, I'm assuming is a legend in your heart as well, your grandmother. You
Mhm,
mentioned in a few interviews how she's been impactful as far as to your family and yourself, and how you were wearing her necklace on one of the matches. Can you
mhm.
talk about like the impact overall? So for instance, my grandmother also passed away as well, and there's certain
I'm
things that I
so
remember. It's one of those things, like, you don't want them to go, but it's life. But the
mhm.
great thing about great grandmothers is they leave so much behind as far as knowledge and stuff that you couldn't grasp when you were a child, but now it makes sense when you're older. So is there any like advice or anything that your grandmother used to say all the time that you're just like, oh, now I get it?
My grandma and I were very connected. She's probably so happy we brought her up. She's been waiting for her turn. Like, she is just like La Princesa. Like, finally they bring me up. Oh my gosh. She's probably sitting right next to me as we speak because when someone passes, you can't see them, but they are forever in your heart. So
Mhm.
she's always with me, and she has been with me this entire way. My grandma, one advice that I totally think that she gave me that makes sense now is always have your nails painted. Like,
Oh,
why? Yeah, I know. I look fabulous as we speak. Beautiful. When I was younger, I would just come around with chip nails, and my grandma would be like, "You're a lady. Act like
mm,
one." And I thought she was so harsh for it. But now that I'm in this role of being a princess. I'm on top tier shape of like whether it comes to fitness, beauty, looks, and I perform better when I look my best. So I think that's
mhm.
one of the best little tips she gave me that I think would be overlooked. She played a huge part and still does inspiration. She was one of the most beautiful people I have ever had the privilege to love and be related to inside and out.
Shout out to
Yeah.
grandma. Um, but let's kind of go back before you are who you are right now. When you first started, you made that decision that you wanted to start wrestling. What was that experience like taking the first bump? Did you have like an athletic background before you started wrestling?
TK, I was born for this. So the second I got into the ring, it just made sense. Everything was easy to me. Everything came naturally. It was as if, I can't explain it. It just made sense. I got into the ring and I had no issues. I was a quick learner. And I think 2 years now, going on 3 in August. I mean, what it takes others years to accomplish, La Princesa Tiffany Nieves can accomplish in a day. And that was proven the second I got into the wrestling ring.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to go to as well. Like, you started in 2021, multiple championships. We just named a few legends. There's more that you've worked with. What do you think it's a DNA thing, like the combination of just who you are? Is it your hard work? Is it Like you were saying, there are people who they've been on the scene for a long time, and where you are right now, they haven't even touched that. You've also been on major platforms like AEW and Impact as well. So I know you don't want to give away the secret sauce, but what do you think made it up from 2021 to 2024 doing so much?
Doing the hard work. I think not everyone has been through what I've been through.
Mhm.
It's that simple. And I want to shout out my time when I was at Impact, also known as TNA, because I had the experience to be around Gail Kim. And we keep talking about these amazing women. Oh my gosh. Gail Kim is someone else I'd love to spend more than 3 days with. She's phenomenal, great at what she has accomplished. And she's also alumni from OVW. I took the time to realize being so good at this, it'd be a waste not for the world to see me. I mean,
Mhm.
why wait 10 years, So when I learned the skills that I was trained at Flatbacks by Tyler Breeze and Sean Spears.
Mhm.
And you don't need more than 8 weeks to learn it. And if you do, then you're doing something wrong, honestly. La Princesa dedicates her whole existence and life and breath and everything to wrestling. So, I mean, there's no cheat code. If you're not doing that, that's why you're not getting to where you want to be. And like I said, and like I do, every time I step into the ring, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to be there and to get there. And I'm also willing, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it the best, which is why I'm the best at everything.
There it is. Now I'm going to name 3 people. And when I say their names, just tell me one word that comes to mind. So Al Snow,
Next.
Thunder Rosa,
Iconic.
and Billy Corgan.
Bestie.
Now, what is it that you like to do for fun? Because I went through your Instagram, I went through your Twitter. It's very obvious that you put in the work. It's well deserved. But what do you do on the off days?
Well, if you study history, something about royalty, La Princesa, we love to eat. What they would say about the kings and queens is, they'd be a little heavier and impossible for me, because they would enjoy the luxury of food and eating and dining. And that is so true with La Princesa. If I'm not cooking the best nutritionist meal ever, I'm going out and enjoying it. So that's what I like to do, aside from studying, aside from training, because I really enjoy what I'm doing. Because when you're good at it, it's easy to enjoy it. So outside of wrestling, if I'm not working really hard in the gym, I really love working out. I'm eating. I'm eating the finest cuisine I can find in whatever state or country I'm in.
Okay. And 2 more questions before we get out of here.
Okay.
So I saw you had like a motivational moment with Izzy
Mm-hmm.
on Mission Pro. And you did mention that you beat her as well.
I
Do
did.
you think that motivation moment might actually propel her to really kind of take it to the next level to try to go at you again?
I absolutely has, and that was the point of it. I didn't want to face a loser. At the time when I faced Izzy, she was crying in the locker room, crying online, crying everywhere about how she can't win a match. And it was pathetic. And I knew as a champion, she didn't deserve that match at the time. And it wasn't because she's a fan because she was crying. Stop it. She's trained in jujitsu. She's trained, she's studied wrestling for 10 plus years. Know your value. Cut it
Mhm.
out. Everyone else looks at you as a little kid, but you're in a woman world now. Act like it. So I wasn't going to go easy on her. And you know what? I think I am a huge part into her success now. I think after that match, she probably lost one more match, right? I think she faced Kylan King. And since then, she's finally won her first match. She's walking around like a potential candidate. She's walking around like maybe I can be a champion one day. That's who I want to face. So she musters up the courage for a rematch. I'd give it to her.
Okay. And what do you have to say to the people that are coming after? I guess, you said it to Izzy. What do you have to say to the people who are coming after your title this weekend and beyond?
Keep on coming, baby. You're the reason I'm relevant. If I didn't have you to beat, I would just sitting here. I was gonna rhyme, but I didn't want to be too cliche. But my finishing move is the royal seat. So I am known because of you. If I couldn't defeat you, I wouldn't be able to put you in my royal seat. So keep on coming. I'm not scared of anything. I'm becoming that longest reigning Mission Pro champion because of you. Mwah.
And sorry, I know I said last question, but the title looks good on you. So
Facts.
are there any other titles? Because you know you're you were a belt collector, you lost a few, now you want to
Absolutely.
get any more titles that you want to kind of go after, put
Absolutely.
people on
Yes,
notice.
the NWA title. I have my eyes on it. I told Billy Corgan if he wanted me to sign with the NWA, I need a championship match right away. And he did that. And if you download the CW app, you'll watch how I had Kenzie Page this close until she decided to cheat behind the referee's back. So I am owed a rematch.
Okay.
I could be holding the NWA title right now, but don't worry. That'll be very soon.
Okay. Well, there it is. Like I said, it does look good on you, the title
Thank
that
you.
you have right now. For people who are not following you, and they should be, where can they
Absolutely.
find you?
You can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Tiffany Nieves _. I hope that if you're not local to anywhere that I have a show at, that you can tune in. My OVW is on YouTube, NWA is on the CW app, Mission Pro is on Title Match. So there's so many options to be able to engage in TK. I hope I get to meet you in person because you need a Get It, Got It Bueno shirt.
You know what? We're going to work on that. Let's do that. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. I did hear on other podcasts that you don't go on every podcast, so I appreciate that you grace Women's Wrestling Talk with your presence.
Yes.
So I appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for watching Women's Wrestling Talk. My name is TK Trinidad. You can follow me in everything at TK Trinidad. Make sure you check out Women's Wrestling Talk on everything, everywhere at WW Talk Pod. Till next time, guys. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Ciao for now.
Stay beautiful.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WW Talk Pod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.